All right. Welcome to episode 9 of the Extra Innings podcast. And I have a very special guest with us today, Mason VanMeter. What's up, man?
Oh, man.
Thanks for coming on.
I'm stoked that you had me. It's a pleasure.
I'm excited to have you, man. I know this is gonna be a fucking good episode. You and I have spoke a few times and we've had some good conversations in the past. Uh but for anyone who's listening to this episode today, uh that may not know of you, can you just give a little introduction on yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are?
Yeah, my name is Mason VanMeter. I live in a small town of Texas. I'm a retired factory worker, and as of late, as of the last couple of years, an entrepreneur. And I truly enjoy serving insurance agents. It's the vehicle that I use to change my own life. And when contracts got held over my head and dirty politics were played, I left and decided to build my own business and basically share information, products, and a success path for other agents to follow to really help guarantee that they achieve prosperity if they just fucking listen.
Yep. I think we can both agree most fucking agents don't listen.
Yeah, that's one of the newest videos I put in my program. It's just 2 minutes of me ranting, screaming, like, I'm right, you're fucking wrong. Like, whatever you think you know, throw it out. Or you wouldn't be on YouTube searching for help if everything was going well. You wouldn't be scouring Facebook groups looking for an answer if you already had one. So, like, push the ego aside for just a minute. I promise you can have it right back. I don't want to keep it.
Yeah. Dude, I've been coaching insurance agents for probably the last, I'd say 4 or 5 years, like regularly. Man, that's like the biggest fucking issue that you run into, where people come to you because they know that you have the experience and the answers to the problems that they face, and then their ego gets in the way of actually listening to the shit that you're telling them, and they give you every reason why it doesn't work instead of just listening to why it does fucking work. So my question to you, because I already had a little bit of a plan of where we were going to go with this conversation, and I like the way it's going already. Before we even get into that, how did you even get into fucking insurance? Because unless you're Joe Camper, who kind of just like grew up loving insurance, that's 99% of people are not like that.
No, I
How did you
actually used to
actually
have
get
a
into
very, I'd say I had a hatred towards insurance. I was a young boy working in factories, traveling. There was one day I was working at NASA. I was living over in San Jose for a little bit for this job I had working on NASA's wind tunnels over at the Ames Research Center in San Jose, California. I hate that place. But I just remember, like, dude, like, I don't want to fucking do this anymore. I don't want to work on these huge ass motors, dripping like molten copper, burning my beard, my skin. Like, it, sure, it was fun to kick the shit and make like dry ice bombs in night shift while no one else is looking, like, hey, go long. And we're playing football with this ticking, you know what? But it's like, there's got to be more than this, this stupid shit, dude. It just felt so immature. It felt like it wasn't me. It felt like I was special, even though I know in the grand scheme of things, the day I die, the world keeps fucking spinning and I'll be nothing more than a picture on the wall and some videos on the internet. But I like to pretend that I'm the most important person in my world. It's like, I want a bigger fucking vision and life to live. Like, there's got to be something out there. And that just planted the seed. But a couple months later, I was like, okay, I got shipped to Australia for a year, came back, and then I was like, okay, I got to do something different. It's like, I just started dating this girl that I was engaged to. I jumped the fucking gun on that because love makes men do crazy things. But that's truly one of the most beautiful things in the world, is the madness of love. I thought it's a great feeling. But I was like, I got to do something where I can work from home, hang out with the girl. I had 2 huskies, so I was like, my dogs are my absolute best friends in this journey I call life. And what can I do to give all of us a better lifestyle? So I got on ZipRecruiter, ZipRecruiter, or one of those job sites, because I applied for multiple. I went and worked at like FFL for 3 days. My upline was a dickhead. So I was like, well, it's either I beat the fuck out of this dude when I see him, or just find something different and be mature and not lose everything that I've worked so hard to build. And then I found a place called Symmetry, talked to my upline at the time, David, sold there for a couple of years. I won some trophies and made some trips, but it's like I truly found out the beauty of creating these systems and learning how to communicate with people and like manipulate beliefs and perceptions and realities and other people. It's like, this is fucking magic. Not the bullshit you see on Harry Potter where they're waving little sticks around like nerds, but it's like, this is real magic. It's like, this is something I can get behind. And it enthralled me, and it still does to this day. There's something beautiful about it. And it's more of a conquest now, not in terms of dominating other people, but liberation.
Yeah. And it's perfecting a craft. You know what I mean? Like I
just want to chase a life of fulfillment. I don't want to die some boring, miserable fucking life. That's all it is.
Fair enough. So that's what got you into insurance, and it eventually led to you starting Running Buddies Academy. Talk to us about that. What is Running Buddies?
So in full transparency, I became an insurance agent 100% for the fucking money. I don't know why people act like, well, I wanted to serve people. No, you didn't. Something was going so fucking wrong in your life, you decided to like throw the Hail Mary. It's 4th and down, like games on the line, Super Bowl. You're throwing a Hail Mary getting your fucking insurance license. Don't come at me with that serving others bullshit. And I started Running Buddies Academy. There was just a lot of drama going on in the hierarchy I was in. People telling me to follow the chain of command and all this shit. I was like, hold up. Like, I'm a 1099 independent agent. You're not my fucking boss. You're not my mom or dad. You have nothing in my life that I would want. As a matter of fact, you have shitty relationships. You're overweight. You eat very unhealthily, and you're a fucking drunk idiot. I would follow you nowhere. It's like, this shit ends now. So I just started going to who had what I needed. I don't care if they were in a different company, at the top of the company. It's like, I either built a relationships with people in power and control, or I paid my way in. Like, hey, I'll give you $1,000 if you jump on this call with me right now. I need help with something. So it's just what it came down to. And like, people started sending me cease and desist, holding contracts over my head saying, well, you can't go anywhere else for 6 months with this non-compete. It's like, that's fucking toilet paper. Yeah. You go give that to a judge, bitch.
Yeah, that's not gonna hold up.
And I was like, how many other agents are stuck in this line of degeneracy? On one side, you have like, you have to buy leads. Like, I don't care what it takes. Sell your uncle's fucking kidney, buy leads. Like, I've heard uplines say shit like that. Go drain your life savings. Like, that is the only way to make money. It's like, then you have these people over here that are like cuckolds. They put peanut butter between their ass crack. They're like, bring every family member in here. It's like, Pride Trerica, whatever company rhymes with that. It's like, it's the fucking place to be. It's like, you have to do this. Like, get everyone in here. It's like those are the only things that are promoted. Sell warm market, or you have to buy leads. Like, why is no IMO? Why is no fucking agency owner? Like, why do they all sell their souls first off? But second, why is no one teaching agents real marketing practices, how to acquire customers profitably, how to communicate in a way that speaks to their greatest fears and desires and gives them a bigger vision for their life and helps them find that the way to do that is with this vehicle over here called life insurance. Like, it's gonna get rid of all that pain that your family's gonna fucking feel one day, dude.
It's the same thing as like the education system, man. Like, you put
archaic, bell to bell, prison like, fluorescent lights. Get that bullshit out of here. I'm not holding anyone's hand or holding onto a rail.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I think that's the issue, right? Like, we have, and I think we're in agreement on this. The barrier to entry is so low in insurance, and I talk about this all the fucking time. The barrier to entry into insurance is so fucking low that you have people who have no fucking skill set coming into the industry, and then they're being recruited by people like you're saying, who are just like, spend all your money, take a loan, or just recruit your warm market so that they could get a tiny sliver of whatever the override is. And no one's learning any real skill sets. And to be honest, like, most of these people who are the upline don't have a skill set themselves.
No, it's the dissemination of something that they heard from the top down. It's like, Who's gonna fucking step outside and break the chain? That's one thing I'm not proud of. Is like I was that dickhead who recruited his family and bought the leads. Like it, I made it work because I'm not a dumbass. But it's like I can't believe that I brought people into this industry under false premises and fake promises that I thought were real. And it's like I hurt some people, and I have to live with that pain for the rest of my fucking life.
The good thing is, man, you're smart enough and you're driven enough to go fucking make it right, though. You know what I mean?
Correct. I'm willing to
And
do something about it. I want to play on a world scale. I don't want to play small.
dude, and it's funny. I'm gonna say something that I haven't really announced yet, but fuck it, we'll do it here. I'm writing a book right now, based that's 100%. It's sales psychology. It's psychology tips that you can use to implement into sales. And one of the things I wrote, and I think you'll find this funny, because as soon as you were talking, it immediately brought me to the book, and it's like on the second page that I've written. It's uh, I'm able to capture my ideal client, insurance agents who are struggling to grow, because I understand the following things about most insurance agents. Number one, they're struggling to grow. Number two, they believe that all insurance leads are absolute shit, which they aren't wrong to some extent. Number three, they need higher intent leads so that the closing process is easier for them. And then number four, the reality is that because the barrier to entry is so low in insurance, most insurance suck at sales. So they use number two and number three as their excuse for number one, which is they believe insurance leads are absolute shit and they need higher intent leads, which is why they're struggling to grow. It's a cyclical cycle of just insurance agents don't have fucking skill sets, man. They don't have skill sets, and it's just this cyclical thing that just keeps going and going and going. And you have people recruiting other people who are taught that they only have to recruit. And you have all these recruiting agents who aren't writing any fucking business because they don't know how to fucking sell. And so they use excuses for everything else instead of just looking at themselves inward and saying, I fucking suck. Let me learn how to fucking sell a product. Let me learn how to fucking do this thing. And then once I'm actually good at it, then I'll go bring other people in and teach them how to do the same thing.
Yeah,
And that's what separates you because you've learned the fucking skill sets needed to be good at the job.
yeah. I personally find it like I love learning communication. It's my favorite thing in the world. Understanding how our brain works. It's what I've invested most of my time and money in as the last couple of years. But it's most agents are going to live the same 6 months on repeat. This fucking doom loop, and they can never fucking break out of it. And it's truly sad. But the only reason I truly wanted to learn this stuff is because I'll just be very transparent. Power is very attractive. Learning to say things to get other people to feel what you want them to feel, do what you want them to do, like believe what you want them to believe. You can create your own fucking world, and that it brings its own level of responsibility with it to realize you can't do things that are unecological that'll hurt others just for your own win. That's what most people do unconsciously, and they're not even fucking aware of it. But that's so awesome. You're building a book, man. Like, congratulations. I'm happy for you. You need a co-author or a foreword. Like, that's my shit. So,
dude, I'll have you write my foreword. I'd appreciate that.
I would be honored. Seriously, that's a topic of mine that I fucking love. So,
no, I 100%. The offer is there for you. If you want it, it's yours. I think
yeah, I'll take it.
I don't think there would be anyone else actually that would be a better fit for what I'm writing versus what they teach than you. So, yeah, if you're down for it, man, I'm down.
I'll most definitely do it. I love it.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. So, all right, so let's go on. So, Running Buddies Academy, you're teaching insurance agents how to fucking take back. It's more than just teaching them insurance skills, right? You're teaching other things in there to grow as fucking people, to my understanding, right? So,
Correct.
so when we talk about that, and I think anyone who's kind of listening to this episode already at this point in the conversation has already realized you have a very different approach to your style and the way you communicate. And obviously, you've mentioned that that's a very big portion of what you're obsessed with, right? Like being able to portray and communicate what it is that you're trying to get through to people. Because we all know, like, especially in this industry, it's hard to get into fucking people's heads to get them to understand things. It's very easy for people to be content with being average. And so you're kind of breaking that mold of people who are running Buddy's Academy. Talk to us about everything that you do within there, because if there's someone in here who needs to hear and needs to join, this is like your pitch of
Yeah,
what you're doing.
absolutely. And I don't want to make anyone do anything they don't want to do, but it's like what first thing we do is we give them a different identity. We call them prosperitans. And I know you had a question about that later, so I'll
Mhm.
explain more what that is when you ask that.
You
But
could
it's
go
like
into it right now.
I just need to give them a different identity because once they see themselves in a different light, it's kind of like how Russell Brunson has funnel hackers. It's like the moment you put that T-shirt on, it's like you're now building funnels. You become. So yeah, that's what I want my people to do. When you put on a Prosperitan T-shirt, like this is your fucking battle armor. This is your superhero cape. You get to do incredible things when you're wearing this, and you're immune to the feelings of rejections when you get an objection. Like you do things right because it is the right thing to do. You say what you mean what you say. You're a person of integrity and honor. You can win right now without hurting other people. It's just these beliefs that I want to indoctrinate them with because I know it'll help them make more sales. And it's all unconscious. It's so crazy. It's like I mailed a shirt out to the girl the other day, and she's like, "This made it feel all real." Then she went and wrote policies. I was like, "This is truly amazing what an identity or a set of beliefs can do." But it's like I give them the marketing blueprint, so I'll teach them the 4 different things they need to do every day for a couple hours to get as many customers as you can possibly handle. And none of those involve buying leads. None of those involve recruiting more market. So it's like I give you 50 to 100 different ways that you can market to acquire customers profitably. Like people pay you to become customers rather than the other way around, which I don't see anyone talking about that. And it blows my mind because it essentially means you have no marketing budget and you can spend more than anybody else to acquire a customer, which means you can monopolize the fucking market and drive all the other assholes out of the industry if you go hard enough. So I just think that's cool. It's business. Business is cutthroat.
Powerful.
It's fierce. It's competition. But very few, I think, will be willing to rise to those heights just based on how the world is today. But I hope they do. I hope they prove me wrong. And it's truly just me challenging them. The second thing is really learning how to communicate. And it's not necessarily just sales, but a framework on how to talk because our tongue is our sharpest weapon. Like I'll teach you how to get whatever you fucking want with this little thing right here. It's like you have to be able to construct narratives and beliefs like the news do, like the government does. One of the good books I read about like how people spread news like a wildfire is Ryan Holiday's "Don't Trust Me, I'm Lying."
Yep.
That's a great book when it comes to how people communicate to the masses, and that's truly what I want to do is get more agents message out to more people, make more sales, have more of an impact, and play on a bigger scale. One-on-one conversations is fun, but if you want to make some serious money, you need to talk to the masses. So lots of people. But I would say those are the 3 biggest things is just becoming a Prosperitan, learning the marketing blueprint and the success path of a personalized approach. Because let's just be real, most of the agent training out there in the world is all, this will work for all of you. This script will work for all of you. Well, imagine being a customer getting called with the same fucking opening line 20 times in a day for 20 days in a row. I'd probably learn the script as the customer. I'd probably start reciting it back to them. Oh, let me guess, mortgage protection, the A, B, or C option. It's fucking dumb, but it's like I want to teach you to communicate in a way that's congruent to who you are as a person and what's going to get you results specifically. I'm not here to tell you to read from some dumbass script that most people don't even know how to build a real script or what is the intention of it. So that's the biggest thing. But I really just want to make my own little army of Prosperitans. Selfishly, I want to build up a network of strong, good-hearted people that are God-fearing and they have loads of money because that's ultimately gives us the ability as an army to partition large amounts of resources to conquer whatever we fucking want. That's my selfish reason is I want to create my TAM. I want to make smart and powerful people. That way, when I have problems, I have someone to help me.
Yep. You're building a fucking army of killers is what you're doing.
Yeah, but it's a win-win for both parties. We're not doing anything unethical. I don't take advantage of fucking anybody. I tell that I'm the only person in this industry who has told agents how I've gotten their money into my pockets, and I'll teach them how to do the same thing. It's like, here's how I got you to buy $8,000 worth of this. And they're like,
It's transparency.
looks like fucking magic. But
Yeah.
what I do works.
And that's why you're having the success you have, man. And I hope more people begin to realize and align themselves with people who are doing things not just with success, but doing it ethically and the right way, like you are.
Yeah, I didn't sell my soul. I'm not some cuckold who lets my wife gets like plowed by other men on some Cabo vacation. Like I'm as real as they fucking come. I know what I want. I'm gonna go get it without hurting anybody, unless they get in the way.
That's how it should be. Now, you did mention on the first one, you were talking about kind of how you're the only one who's doing the marketing in the manner of which you're doing it, which I would agree with. But it brought to mind a book that I've read that plays right into it, and I want to know if you've ever read the book, heard of it, and if you haven't, then I'm going to buy it and I'm going to send it to you. So I'm going to need your address. But have you ever read Blue Ocean Strategy? He's got it. There we go. All right. Shit. So
Yeah.
I got to get.
I'll match you real quick. I want you to go read. Make sure no one else is listening to this, but it's called "Play Bigger" by Christopher Lochhead. It's a book about category design, and it breaks down the blue like a different. Dude, it's beautiful. It breaks down how Steve Jobs took 80% of the market. Microsoft, it gives you all these different category kings, how they basically created the problem. They marketed the problem, kind of like how Claude Hopkins did 100 years ago with Pepsodent. He didn't say, hey, I have toothbrush powder. You want to buy it? No, he goes like, hey, do you have the film, Victor? You know what the film is? It's that yellow shit on your teeth that makes you have like bad breath. No girls want to kiss you. And people are like, I have the film. What do you have? He's like, well, I have Pepsodent toothbrush powder. It'll get rid of that. If you create the problem that your market has, people will naturally depend on you for the solution, but everyone else is already marketing the solution. So it's such an easy way to stand out.
Yep. And who did you say wrote that book?
Christopher Lochhead, Edward Newen, and a couple other people. It's got a couple different co-authors, but all of these people have had multiple IPOs. They've been like very big business people.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah, just Play Bigger, but it's a phenomenal book. It's probably one of the only books I've studied, not just read.
Okay, I'm gonna add that to my cart right now. Cool. Thanks for that. I could always use any good fucking books that, and actually, I'm gonna take this a different way. So a lot of people have different styles of learning, right? And I think my wife hates this about me, but I buy a shit ton of books. I have.
I wish I could show you on my bookshelves. I know exactly what you mean.
Dude, I have more books than my bookshelf could hold. So now I have like basically bins in my garage of books and all this shit. But the thing she hates isn't necessarily that I buy books, is that I never finish them. And it's because I usually only buy a book until I get one really good concept that I could use in my business. And then I stop so that I could go implement it. And then I usually just never get back to the book unless it's like really, really, really fucking good.
Yeah, I skim most of mine. I study a select few.
Yeah, I only take like the part. I'll read until I find parts that I really like that I can implement that makes sense for my business, and then I stop. So I've got probably 100 fucking books that I've probably gotten like a third of the way through. So how do you take, because I think it's important for people to continue learning, and obviously I'm writing a book, so I want people to fucking read my book too. But at the same time, I know that some people kind of fall back on reading books and buying books and learning and never implementing because they use that as a fallback that they're still
Yeah,
learning.
they just want to feel good.
Yeah. So do you think that's what it is too? That it's just like a kind of an ego stroke so that they could get a win, so that they feel like they're accomplishing something and being productive when they're really
Sometimes, but I would
counterproductive?
argue it's like a lot of us just don't have the experience to understand the context about why they wrote the book in the first place. So it's like those people have already experienced the problem. They have managed their emotions with it and they know how to get around it. So they wrote the book to help you that, hey, when you face this problem, here is the strategy or the path to get around it. That way you understand the context and know what to look for. That way you can find the patterns. I think it's just, that's all learning really is pattern recognition. That's what experience really is. Pattern recognition.
Yep.
It forms this kind of cognitive bias where you like start to see things play in sequences or a certain series of events and you're like, I've seen this before, I know what to do.
So what would you recommend to someone who doesn't have as much experience, to go out and get the experience and then start reading? Because I don't think that
So
would
if
work.
I was teaching someone how to swim, I would probably just push them in a fucking pool and then have them read a book on how to swim after, because then they'll learn. But it's like, go have the experience first. I promise you, you're not going to drown. If you do,
Then you don't have to worry about
oh
reading.
well. Not. I'm just playing. I'd fucking get your ass out
You
of the
want me to
pool.
read the book.
But after you read, like after you've had the experience and then you read, like you have understanding, you have the context.
Gotcha.
It's that whole thing where David Goggins talks about like theorists versus practitioners, and it's just you have to manage the dichotomy of it. It's like you don't want to be too far on either side, just all learning or all experience. It's like, how can we meet somewhere in the middle and kind of manage that out? Over time, it's going to get imbalanced, and it's your job to course correct. It's what the brain is for.
It's great advice. Now, I do want to talk about the online insurance event that you put on earlier this year. What was your experience putting that together? Because I've done personally in-person events. I've never done an online conference. Actually, yes, I have, but not anywhere near to the fucking extent that you did it.
I did. I
I
was
would
not
say
aware of how much it would take off. So far, we've had over like 6,200 agents go through it now.
so. That might be, I would argue, probably the largest online insurance event ever put together. I think that'd be safe to say. I
When
can't
it went
recall too
live,
many
it had
things.
5,000, but since I've turned it evergreen into just its own funnel, it still had a couple, like a little over 1,000 people go through it. But what are your questions about it?
So, what made you put it together? Number one. Two, how happy were you with the end result? And then, what were some of the struggles and successes that you've had during the entire process, from idea to implementation to the current, results that are still driving in, apparently?
So I just wanted to do something that I thought would generate a large amount of leads, which it did. It was like, how do I make something so valuable that these people are forced to give me their emails? How can I strong arm that fucking email off of them so I can get it in my accounts? Like, I want to market to these people hard, but it's like it's like, what can I do? Well, I can steal other people's credibility. That was one of the big things. It's like they already have trust with a lot of these industry people. It's like, let me go after them and do an interview with them. And because they are now a part of this, a small portion of their audience is going to have to give me their emails, and they're going to get indoctrinated by how much time they spend with me. What that really was is just some huge indoctrination camp of them getting to spend hours of their time with me, learning how I walk, how I talk, what are my beliefs, what am I laughing at, what kind of jokes do I make, when do I get sick? It's like, I want them to learn who I am, to realize that, look, I've been where you are. I know how you fucking feel, young man, young lady. It's like, I know what it feels like to be dialing all day and your girlfriend breaks up with you because all you do is fucking work. It's like, I understand that pain. It's like, I wanted them to realize, like, I'm your fucking Yoda to your Skywalker. Everything you've done or thought about doing, I've already done it 10 times in 10 different ways. So it's like, it was really just a huge trust building event.
And would you say that it ended up with the success that you imagined it would have?
Absolutely. I drove hundreds of people onto Continuity, a $97 a month coaching program, and the retention's been so far like 90%.
That's fucking incredible, man.
So, I mean, boom, give them something extremely valuable, because they could pick and choose what interview they wanted to go to. It's one of the most annoying part of conferences. I have to sit and listen to 6 of these fat fucks tell me how to live their life while their girlfriend's in the stall with some other dude at the conference until my favorite person finally gets up here to speak. Like, okay, that was kind of cool. And then their favorite person gets up there and like, oh my God. It's like, and I wanted to cut that out. I wanted every interview to just be boom, boom. If you just want to learn how to door knock and fuck everything else, like, this is all you, baby. So I divided it into different days, and I made it a through line. It's all about just meeting your people where they're at.
And how do people access it? Because I was also a speaker at this event, and if anyone wants to go check it out, it's available. And if you want to hear my talk with you, Mason, how can they?
It was
get
phenomenal.
access?
I'll go on here right now on the record and say you and I had a phenomenal conversation. It was one of my favorites, absolute favorites, the way we dove into marketing, and you broke down things that I was not even aware of, like working deals with lead vendors and shit like that. I was like, dude, this is fucking gold for the right people. So I just want to say thank you for doing that. If you'd like to access it, just go to runningbuddiezacademy.com, hand me that pretty little email address, and you can have it. Just go to, so you can go to runningbuddiezacademy.com. You'll see a link to it on there, or go to runningbuddiezacademy.com /virtual summit or which one is it? Insurance Summit. Just /insurance summit. I'll send you the links. You can put them on here if you want. But make sure they register through your link. That way you get affiliate credits.
All right. Awesome. And that was a great conversation, man. That I have a lot of fun when it's when we get to be very open and transparent about how the industry actually works. You know, because that's like, and I think we spoke about it in the past, like in that conversation of like, that's kind of how I even started my fucking marketing company in the first place, was to get rid of these fucking lead vendors that just take advantage of people.
They're fucking vultures.
They're vultures. You know
I would
what I mean?
fist fight all these fucking nerds.
Yeah. It's crazy how they take advantage of agents, and especially because agents are so fucking susceptible to being.
It's because the IMOs and shit,
advantage.
dude, they pitch this fucking belief that is their end all be all of success. It's like you have to buy leads or you have to recruit like warm market. It's like, and that drives. I want you guys to realize like your beliefs will dictate your behaviors. So as long as they get you to believe that one thing, you will perform in accordance with what they want you to fucking do. It's mind control. But when I say something about it, because I use the word fuck in the sentence, I'm a bad person. Bitch, you're buying leads from some heartless fuck who doesn't care about you, who's not a genuinely good person, who's never accomplished anything amazing in their life, and they're disingenuine people who God hates. They sold their souls. They're little cucks. If you're a lead vendor and you don't like what I'm saying, like, come fucking fight me. Because no one is standing up for these agents outside of people like you and me. Like, these are real fucking people with real fucking problems. It's bullshit, dude. I'll fight all of these fuckers.
I agree, man. It's a shame because I've seen a lot of people who I would say pretty damn close with sell their souls for money, for a paycheck. And it's like, man, at the end of the day, if you're not helping these agents, like, you have no business being in this fucking industry. You know,
it's not even about that. Like, it's just when you sell your soul, you have nothing forward to look. It's just so ugly. It's a dark place. You have no soul. Like, you have nothing good to feel about, and you ultimately end up taking your fucking life like a loser. So by all means, keep taking advantage of people because your bad genetics will sort themselves out.
It's true. It's true. And just to play off that real quick, agents, please practice. Like, if there's one thing that I could recommend that every single person just practice, okay, I'm gonna look right in the fucking camera and say this: self-awareness. Have a little bit of self-awareness and understand where you need to get better at, and then also who is trying to look out for you and who is not trying to look out for you. Okay, that's it. Very, very straightforward. Understand who you are as a person, what you're trying to accomplish. Look at the people that supposedly are trying to help you, and then look at what they're doing for people. And if you can't fucking pick out anything that they're doing that is right for people, don't fucking do business with them. Just fucking do the right thing. Make sure that you're doing what's best for you and your family, and make sure that the people that you're aligning yourself with are also doing what's right for people that they're in contact with, that they're doing business with. Look at the bigger picture, not just what, some 30-second ad or fucking video that they post up, what they're saying. Don't take people for their word, take them for their actions. With that being said, you have a prosperity shirt. Can you give us the meaning behind it? And because it's been like an integral part of your marketing. I see I'm on your email marketing, so I get your emails every day.
So, man, I
I
hope you
see it
enjoy
on there.
them.
Yeah, no, I do. I read them. I see it on almost every email. We see it in a lot of your Facebook content because you put a lot of Facebook content. You see it mentioned. You have the shirt on. Give us some background on how that came about, what it means to you, and what it means. I know we already touched a little bit on it, but like, can you give us a little bit more detail on why that's so
Yeah,
important?
so it's truly part of a movement. When I said I want to play on a world scale, I mean I want to play on a world scale, like to the point where my words are etched 2,000 years from now. People are still talking about the things that I've said and done. And the only way to do that is to create a movement, the way that Christianity did, the way that Adolf Hitler did, the way that Martin Luther King Jr. did. Like all these people, it's like they created identities for their people to ascribe to. Now, what these identities were compiled of were sets of beliefs that govern the activities and behaviors and thought processes of their like followers and supporters. And so it's like I see Russell Brunson had his funnel hackers. I saw what's another example? It's like Alex Ramosi has his Mosey Nation. It's like he's creating an identity for his people to latch onto, and it pretty much governs their beliefs unconsciously. And so that's what I wanted. It's like, what is the biggest thing that I can do for the agents to help them get rid of all of their other problems? It's like, let me create an identity of the person they need to become, that when they do, everything else just seems to get so much easier and better in their life. And it's like, well, what's a word that people just seem to abuse and it's lost all substance? Financial fucking freedom. If I hear one more goddamn agent say that, I'm going to drive a fucking wooden stake through their heart. It means nothing to anybody anymore. That's what everyone says. I want financial freedom. Bitch, what does that mean?
It means that they're gonna fucking work. They're
Yeah.
gonna work for themselves
You're going
20
to become a
hours.
slave to the thing that you built to give you, like, no, like, I want to give you prosperity. I want to give you peace of mind. I want you to be proud of who you are as a person. I want you to be congruent. I want you to say what you mean and mean what you say. I want you to be a beacon of positivity and inspiration for other people to aspire to accomplishing great things. It's like, I want my people focused on the inputs, not the outputs. It doesn't matter what happens. Get rid of all of your expectations, young man. Whatever happens, happens. If you're going to do your worrying, do it when you have the power to make the decision. That's why I see so many like degenerate gamblers. They're like, what if it doesn't land on red on the roulette table? It's like, why didn't you worry about that before you made the bet when you had power over it? So it's like, I'm teaching these people to do things in a way where they only worry about what they can control. Like a person should never be mad at what they can and cannot control. You're in complete control over your life. It's like, I want to give you prosperity and abundance and a bigger fucking vision of your life. I want you to quit playing so fucking small. I want you to realize that you are the child of God. And that is all the entitlement you need. Like the fact that you were born, that's all the proof that you need that you can go conquer whatever you fucking want. I'm a conqueror by heart. It's what drives me. Like when I study Alexander the Great or Achilles, Hercules, like all these great fucking warriors. I've studied war and how they were consummate politicians and shit like that, dude. It's enthralling how beautiful they were with their words. Like Alexander the Great, I actually just watched a brand new series they put on Netflix of him, and it's hypnotizing. It's mesmerizing. Like he was able to conquer Egypt with words alone. And the fact that when I say, hey, I'll teach you to be an expert communicator and to read people, people are like, oh, that doesn't matter.
It's the most important thing.
Have fun when you're fucking divorced.
Dude, there's a guy, he's on social media. His name is like Vin Jiang. I don't know how to pronounce it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got some of
And
his stuff. He is a master storyteller.
absolutely. And he has this one bit that he actually puts a lot of sponsored content and has gone viral quite a few times. The
In
same
the
piece of
Stage
content.
Academy.
Yeah, where he talks about if you are a 10 out of 10 in intelligence, but you're a 3 out of 10 in communication abilities and skills, how are people going to perceive you when you go to portray that 10
Like
out
a
of 10
dumbass, because
intelligence?
you don't even know how to say what you're thinking.
Exactly. So that's the clip that's gone viral a few times, and it makes perfect sense. If you can't communicate what it is that you're thinking, then how are you ever going to be taken serious and be able to portray anything meaningful to anyone? You can't.
That's
So
what's,
it's important to work on your communication. It's the most
that's
important.
what's so different about how I approach marketing is like, for one, I'm very direct. And I want everyone to realize that you're a direct speaker. I don't care how unconfident you think you are. Victor, when you go to the gas station, what do? Hey, give me 20 on pump 2. Why didn't you sit there and ask the girl, hey, how's your day going? What's the family been up to? What kind of job you like? You don't waste 30 minutes of their time. You're just very direct. Here's what I want. No one judges that. So why do we not do it in our sales? Blows my fucking mind. But my marketing is so different in terms of it's not even about conveying what I'm thinking. It's about telling the story that my customers are telling themselves inside their heads. Because I enter the conversation in their brain. They're like, this guy gets me. He understands me.
Yep.
It isn't manipulative 100%. It can be used for wrong. So I would challenge any of you, if you do go through my stuff, don't use it for fucking evil. Don't be a
Be
little
ethical.
dickhead.
Yeah, be ethical, or you'll find your way out of this fucking industry.
What's the quote? Absolute power corrupts absolutely, or something?
I don't know.
It's some old wartime shit. I love history. I think it's truly beautiful, and
Well,
I don't
that,
want to fall in the same traps that other idiots have.
Well, that actually leads perfectly into the next question I have. What are some of your favorite hobbies outside of business?
Scuba diving, hypnosis. I love hypnosis. It's very fun. I love exploring altered states of consciousness. I've built devices that can basically manipulate my brain waves to go into certain frequencies. That's pretty fun. I've actually built one for my buddy Tony Merwin. It's called a God helmet. It's just an electroencephalograph, but I built it off of Dr. Michael Persinger's God helmet he built, where I can basically manipulate my brain waves and I can access what someone on like shrooms or psilocybin or LSD would see. I can see that completely like sober or unaffected by a drug or anything like that. So it's pretty cool to me.
That's fucking wild. That's interesting.
I've built some pretty crazy stuff. Some things I can't talk about just due to the threat that it would bring me. But spending time with my dogs. I love scuba diving and skydiving. Anything with an adrenaline rush. Anything that makes me truly value the things that are beautiful. Because sometimes I just want to sit outside near a campfire, man, and have a conversation with God and myself about how thankful I am, how proud I am of the things that I've accomplished, but there is way more to do, and I can't get too stuck in the past. Tomorrow's a new day, and it may never come, so make the most out of what I have right now. But it's truly what I enjoy, the truly beautiful things in life. And that's
Awesome.
really what I want to teach on a world scale, is teach young men how to desire the right things, and that's what education is to me, at least, desiring what is beautiful.
That's awesome, man. I wish more people could really appreciate, what
Yeah,
you have.
they're too busy on the fact that I say things in a way they don't like, despite the fact that it's true. They just don't like how it makes them feel.
And that's usually it's self-reflection. Usually when someone makes them uncomfortable, it's something within themselves that
Yeah,
they don't like.
that's how perception works. Perception is projection. What we see, we will push onto others.
Absolutely. Now, I got one last question for you. We're hitting the 45-minute mark here. This is the question that I kind of gave you a warning about. It's a stupid fucking question, but it's a very important question. And this is a question that I have instilled in interviews when I'm recruiting or hiring for people within my agency, within the marketing company, whatever the case may be. This is a question I've always asked, and it's because it is a 100% important factor on learning how people perceive themselves. So here's the question. Are you ready?
Yep.
What's your spirit animal?
My spirit animal?
Your spirit animal.
A wolf.
Why?
I don't know. This is the weird connection I have with my huskies. They're so wolf-like. I think they are beautiful creatures. They hunt in packs, so they understand the importance of relationships. There's a leader. They take care of their own, but they're ruthless against any form of opposition. What better fucking animal? Like great whites can't go on land.
This is why I asked this question, man. It's such a great question to really see the mindset of why people say things. Like I'll give an example real quick of like one reason why it's super important. We were interviewing this girl once years ago when I worked at Allstate, and the owner of the agency, I was working as a sales manager at this agency. The owner of the agency and someone else that worked there, they loved this girl. They were ready to hire her. Then I came in and said, "What's your spirit animal?" And she said a fucking fish. And she couldn't, in this for a sales position, she said a fish. We asked her to explain why. And she's like, "Oh, they're cute. You know, they swim around. They have freedom to kind of just run around." And we're like, "Yeah, we're not fucking hiring this girl."
They fucking fall over after 3 days after winning them from that stupid little coin toss game at the fucking festival. Fish are fucking food. That's it.
She said a fish, and I was like, "Yeah, no, there's no way I'm
Yeah,
allowing anyone
she
to
got
hire
fished
her."
right out of that pond too.
Yeah, but it's important because it's that question. It sounds so silly in its essence because it's just what's your spirit animal. It's such a stupid question, but the self reflection that you need to have on your answer and your reasoning behind that answer is very telling on who you are and the success you're going to have specifically. And I'm tying it to the sales position because that's what I'm usually asking it for. And it ties into the personality and a lot of times the success or lack of success that you're going to have in a position or just in life in general. If you fucking view yourself as a fish, you're probably not going to do much with yourself. And to be honest, I follow her on Instagram and she's jobless. Here we are 8 years later, 7 years later, and can't find a job.
Well, I hope
So
she finds something better for her.
I do too. And I hope she has a little bit of a better outlook on herself.
Maybe she should go work in some type of aquarium. He enjoys fish that much. I'll see.
Yeah. Or I don't know. Maybe work.
If they're that cute, someone will pay you to watch their fish or something.
Yeah, launch a YouTube channel on fucking fish. But that's the final question I had for you, man. I fucking appreciate you coming on for this episode so much, man. I'm looking forward to you writing the forward for my book. And
yeah, send it over to me, and I'll pre-frame the reader right and get them ready to consume the marketing that you're going to give them.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. And before we end this episode, for anyone that wants to get in contact with you, what are the best ways to get in communication with you?
You can message me on Facebook or join my Slack channel. For the most part, that's my little community of people. But best thing to do is just go to runningbuddiesacademy.com, sign up for my free Mathematics newsletter. I'll teach you to be an expert communicator and get whatever you want simply by using the right words.
Awesome. All right, man. I appreciate you hopping on this episode.
My absolute pleasure, man. Thank you.
I can't wait to have you back. We'll have you back sometime in the future on another one too.
All right. See you, buddy.